Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. In this video, I'll tell you about 179 perish in a plane crash, 20 foreigners arrested for selling adult services, rest in peace to the 39th President of the United States, Philippines reminds foreigners about their annual reporting, tragedy for a Filipino family in the US, and much more, beginning with our USD to peso exchange rate. A lot of you guys have been asking about not only showing the US exchange, but also other countries. The website I was using is kind of like not showing it anymore, so I had to do this manually. It's not very pretty. I mean, I didn't do it manually, but I found a site that has many countries. Anyways, I'll keep on looking for a better site, but for now, this is the exchange rate, $1 equal to just about 58 pesos. Here's our main story. A Jeju airplane with 181 passengers crashed at Muan International Airport in South Korea after a bird strike failing to deploy landing gear. It veered off the runway, hit a concrete wall, and exploded into flames. Only 2 passengers survived. Investigations suggest that issues with the plane's landing mechanism, weather, and the role of the concrete wall criticized as unsafe. Emergency inspection of South Korea's airline operations were ordered. Temporary shelters were set up for the mourning families, and the crash is regarded as one of South Korea's worst aviation disasters. I'm sure many of you have heard this story over the weekend, and experts are saying that the bird flying into the jet was not the only cause of the accident. Regardless of what happened, why it happened, definitely a tragedy, and this is the second one in a week. I have more on the Azerbaijan airplane later on, but really sad to know this is happening. Hopefully they can actually pinpoint the cause and prevent future incidences like this. May they rest in peace. Next up, 3 family members, including an 8-year-old girl from the Philippines, were fatally poked in the Baldwin Park, California home. The victims were identified as Mia Cancelar Narvaez, Paul Sebastian Magnan, and Rona Nate. The suspects, a 23-year-old male relative, was arrested after attempting to flee but crashing his car. Neighbors reported hearing screams before the tragedy. Authorities are investigating the motive and urge anyone with information to contact them. Another sad story, this one being in the US but involving Filipinos. Staying with Filipinos and abroad, 13 Filipinas convicted of surrogacy in Cambodia returned to the Philippines. 13 Filipino women jailed for violating Cambodia's surrogacy ban have been pardoned and repatriated. They were convicted of violating trafficking laws but received a royal pardon facilitated by the Philippines Embassy. The DFA reminded Filipinos that surrogacy is illegal in Cambodia. If you are a female and want to go ahead and go to other countries and be a surrogate, I would highly recommend finding out the laws, of course. I have zero knowledge regarding this matter or topic, but 13 of them have returned to the Philippines. And then police in Pampanga arrested 18 individuals suspected of stealing 50,000 liters of diesel fuel, over 2 million pesos. In December 27th, the theft involved an abandoned tanker truck which was emptied and its contents transferred to another vehicle identified through CCTV footage. Authorities recovered 5 tanker trucks with diesel and multi-cab carrying 24 containers of gasoline. Criminals will be doing criminal things, whether it's money, people, items, and even diesel, right? So they'll go ahead and thief that stuff, try to sell it for a profit. Just another story from the Philippines. Next up, the Bureau of Immigration on Saturday reminded registered foreigners in the country to submit their annual report within the first 2 months of 2025. I'll be a little embarrassed to tell you I have no idea about this reporting process. I believe this is in regards to foreigners and expats living in the Philippines and are registered perhaps as residents, whether they have their ACR card, whether they're legal residents or temporary residents. They have to provide like an annual report, perhaps if they are married or have some kind of business visa, not just on a tourist visa, essentially. If you guys are on this reporting stuff, please let me know in the comment section. Let me know who is actually required to report to the Bureau of Immigration as a foreigner, why it happens, maybe how much it costs. Any detail you can tell me, hopefully we can go ahead and inform some people in the next video. Next up, rest in peace President Carter of the United States. James Earl Carter, the 39th US president, passed away on December 29th. He was the longest lived president in the US history, having reached 100 years of age. A humanitarian, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002, quote, for his decades of untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development, end quote, said the White House. May he rest in peace also. Next up in Thailand, Thai tourist police arrested 20 foreign women on Pattaya Beach early this morning for illegal selling of their bodies. This crackdown followed complaints from locals and tourists about women in revealing clothes approaching male visitors. The arrest took place at 1 a.m. with women aged 26 to 51. They included 9 from Uganda, 8 from Uzbekistan, 2 from Madagascar, and 1 from Rwanda. All suspects admitted to these charges and face fines of 1,000 baht. Under Thailand's laws, basically 30 bucks. I don't see the point of doing this if you're just gonna fine them $30. I'm sure there's gonna be more charges, maybe checking out their visas and what you can and cannot do. It's ironic because we see it everywhere, but Thailand does not want to admit it's got that kind of problem. And a lot of people in the comment section of the story were quick to point out, why not the Thai people themselves also, right? Because these are not just the only people selling and offering these services. Interesting to know. In Pattaya, let me know if you've been to Thailand's Pattaya, world famous red light district. If you come across anyone trying to provide you some services, just something to share if you want. And then Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev stated Sunday that Russia unintentionally shot down the Azerbaijani airliner last week and criticized Moscow for covering up the incident. I think there was also reports of Putin apologizing. Whatever happened in that situation, really tragic. All those people on that plane perishing based off whatever's going on politically and with all that stuff. Pretty sad still. That's 2 in less than a week regarding plane crashes. I was actually considering perhaps paying a bit extra to stay in the back seat on the last few rows, like somebody mentioned in the comment section. I'm not really sure how much difference that's going to make because statistically, you don't have a very high chance of surviving. Although those that do typically tend to be in the back rows. Let me know if these 2 really change your decision on flying anytime in the near future, or do you think this is part of the whole, cycle of life? Sometimes it happens, stuff like this. Anything you want to share in the comment section, feel free to do so. Speaking of comments, now it's time for our segment Yesterday Today, where I share with you guys some of the most popular comments regarding our previous video. But first, I would like to thank JLMark01 who bought me 3 coffees and says, love your work, you're a natural. Thank you so much, I really appreciate that. And if you guys want to show some support, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, or buy me a coffee like Mark did. And here's our top comments. Chucky Joy says, hi Alex, great video as always. Thank you for shedding some light into the immigration horror stories, especially for young Filipinos like me. While I understand the BI is doing their job to avoid incidents of trafficking, I just don't think the way it's being handled by the Bureau is justifiable. I really want to see the statistics of how many young, financially capable Filipinos have been offloaded or refused to be cleared by immigration versus the number of trafficking victims they stopped. The amount of stress, anxiety, and paperwork we have to prepare to show the immigration officers that we are financially capable to fund our travels to visa-free countries like Thailand, Hong Kong, Malaysia, etc. is massive. I'm so sick and tired of being profiled at immigration lane each time. Any Filipino girlie out there that travels with a foreign boyfriend also knows this. This is regarding, of course, like she mentioned, immigration giving Filipinas a hard time when they want to travel, even if they can go ahead and prove that they can finance themselves. BF from Texas to Philippines says, Incheon, South Korea has tourism for layovers also. An agent asked me if I wanted to see the city, expedited through immigration and include a meal, and back to the airport. A great way to spend a few hours. That is amazing. This was in response to my time in Istanbul when I had a free tour as well. Brian B says, I've traveled 4 times out of the Philippines with my young Filipino girlfriend. You must show that you have a real relationship via photos and cell phone and in a book. Plus you need a letter by attorney notarized. You will support her abroad. The more times the Filipino travel with the same guy and returns on time, she establishes a good track record and immigration can see it, and traveling for the Filipino becomes easier, showing a good travel record. And lastly, SGT USA says, by far, you're the best Asian news vlogger with facts and honest views. Happy New Year's and best to you. Well, thank you and Happy New Year's to all of you guys. I'll be here, I'm pretty sure, on New Year's anyways and New Year's Eve. That's it for today's video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.